Bloody hell, I am absolutely shattered. I've only just got back from work now. It's about 20 past 5. But I don't know about you guys, but let me down in the comments if this happens to you. But after every session, I'm just absolutely beat now. Like my body is taking a bit of a beating, sort of adjusting to the stimulus again. I think this is the 4th week back now. Yeah, 4th week. And I'm recovering a lot quicker, but after every session, like the following night, like I'm just absolutely beat. Like I could fall asleep about 8:30, 9 o'clock, after my eyes just going like this. But yeah, anyway, welcome back to another video, guys. I hope you're all doing well and I've had a good week so far. I just wanted to hop on here quickly before I sort of get into the main topic of the video and just say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently. I think last week you were on about 295 and currently you're on about 306 as of filming this video on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm so grateful to all of you guys who are liking the videos, commenting, subscribing, all that jazz. It really does help the channel to grow. And yeah, we're finally starting to get a bit of reach with this. Getting quite a few views. So yeah, even though I don't always think it, like there must be a small part that I'm sort of getting right. So yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support recently. And yeah, hopefully I can continue to bring out videos that you guys like to watch. But yeah, as you can see from the thumbnail of this video, I basically just wanted to take this video this week to do a bit of a sit down video with you guys and sort of explain from how I went from being super skinny to still reasonably skinny or skinny fat. I don't know, I'm sort of in that weird phase at the minute. I don't think I'm skinny anymore, but I don't think I'm muscular, but I also don't really feel I'm fat. I think I'm like a hybrid of skinny, fat and muscular. But yeah, we're finally starting to get back somewhere, after 4 weeks of being back in the gyms. But really I've been doing this sort of on and off for a good few years. And there's been, it's not been a sort of a steady sort of consistent growth. I've had lots of downs. I got into this. Well, I'll get into this a bit later in the video actually, because I want to start off from the very beginning. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and say a big thank you to all you guys who have hit the subscribe button recently. And yeah, let's get into the video. So we are going to start from the very beginning then. So let me take you back to, I think it was about 2014 when I first went to university, which is actually pretty scary to me now. Bloody hell, like 7 years ago I went to uni. So I'm currently 24. I first started really sort of getting interested in the gym in 2014, so I was about 17, 18. I did sort of dabble in the gym a little bit during sixth form, in sort of like the school gym, but to be honest, you couldn't even call that remotely training. I'd go in there and just sort of, lob a bit of the chest press about and then just think I was gonna get massive. Take a few scoops of protein powder and yeah, job done. But in reality, that is obviously not gonna be the case. So yeah, first went to university. I was 6'5" then, I'm 6'5" now. Obviously, I haven't shrunken just yet. Yeah, so I was 6'5". I was weighing 63 kilograms, which is incredibly light for someone who's 6'5". Yeah, I was an absolute twig. I was wearing sort of small t-shirts, like 28-inch jeans. If you're happy with that, then that's great, and yeah, that's absolutely fine. But for me, I certainly wasn't very happy. I was very self-conscious. At school, I was quite fortunate, no one ever sort of, took the mick or anything like that about my weight and being really thin. But for me, just personally, I always felt like the skinny one. And yeah, it really did start to get to me, to be honest. And so I thought, I'd start joining the gym. I was always watching these guys on YouTube, getting a lot of tips through that. So I kind of had a rough idea of what to do. But nowhere near as much as now. I'd always be going in there sort of just doing sort of bicep curls, and I'd be performing the movements quite well, very controlled, but obviously I'm not really doing the big sort of compound movements which are really gonna, especially in the beginning, that are really gonna see a notice in your physique, like your bench press, your deadlift, your squat, your overhead press, etc. I was just focusing on the tiny muscles, like the bicep or, like calves, which clearly hasn't even worked in my favor now, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, that first year of university was when I first started, sort of slowly getting into the gym, slowly sort of, learning my way sort of through the movements, sort of progression and sort of how to build muscle. Right, so unfortunately, even though this was the first year that I started getting into the gym, like a lot of you guys, or a lot of you guys may or may not do, when I first got to university, the training, even though that was when I sort of started first getting into it, my love, my passion for it wasn't there. So I was only, I was purely going for the reason of to get bigger, feel better about myself, and yeah, just fill out t-shirts a bit more really. So the sort of passion and the motivation to keep going was not there. And other things like, going out a lot, and just studying. Well, I mean, to be honest, the first year was mainly just going out, and then as the second year came around, it was a lot of studying. But yeah, so even though the training started in 2014, it was very slack. It was very, there wasn't much consistency in it either. 1 week I'd go 5 days a week, the next week I'd go once, next time I go twice, next week I wouldn't go, and it would be a lot of bro training. So what I mean by that is, I'd go in and just focus on chest. Then the next day I'd go in and just focus on shoulders. You know, I wouldn't have any sort of progression. I wouldn't sort of note down what I was doing. You know, the weights I was doing, I would just sort of pretty much just hop on a machine, and whatever weight the guy or the woman left previously, I would just do for my working set, which is pretty crazy to think about now. You know, definitely logging it is one of the key things that I think helped me to gain, you know, the weight that I have over the years. So yeah, anyway, during this first year in university, I probably gained about, I think I went up to about 70 kilograms, but a lot of that was just body fat, you know, caused through drinking again, through eating quite a lot of crap. You know, especially in the first sort of like 6 months, we were going out sort of 3, 4, 5 times a week, and every single time, you know, I'd be getting like a foot-long Subway, or, you know, a bonus blanket from KFC on the way home, because there was a 24-hour KFC, you know, back to the flat that I was staying at, which was pretty unreal, to be honest, and yeah, also caused me to spend a hell of a lot of money, as you might imagine. So yeah, the physique sort of end of first year university was looking very much sort of skinny fat. You know, there's a tiny bit of muscle, but mainly just on sort of biceps from where I was training that religiously, and not really putting much focus into other movements. And then yeah, obviously a lot of body fat caused by the excess eating. So my second year of university, so 2015, early 2016, was pretty much the same. You know, my diet was cleaning up a bit. You know, I was watching a lot more YouTube. I was getting into you know, a lot of Christian Guzman, a lot of Max Tuning, you know, proper OGs of the game. And yeah, I was really starting to learn about training and nutrition. Nutrition I was taking a little bit more seriously, but my training just wasn't there. And as a lot of you guys may or may not know, obviously, you know, nutrition is probably about 80% of the sort of progress and the gains you're going to see with regards to resistance training and, you know, weight loss and weight gain. But yeah, I was really making the excuses of, you know, uni work was picking up, you know, second year, so, you know, starting to take it a little bit more seriously now. And once again, you know, the gym was sort of on the back burner. You know, it wasn't sort of an equal priority with the studies at the time. I definitely enjoyed going, but it was more of a hobby at the time rather than something that I felt like I had to do and I really wanted to do. So yeah, at this point, you know, I probably gained, I think I went up to maybe about 75 kilograms. Again, you know, sort of those newbie gains with tidying up the nutrition, but the training, you know, I really did waste the training, to be honest, the first sort of 2 years. And that's something I really want to point out in this video, is that if you guys are, you know, sort of in your early years of lifting, like really try and get the nutrition and the training nailed, because those first few years are when you're really going to see the most progress. You know, your body's going to really adapt to that new stimulus, and yeah, you can make those sort of quote unquote newbie gains, which really do exist. For me now, I feel like they're actually coming back into play after not really lifting properly for about a year. Like I'm sort of in that newbie period, but obviously for me it won't last that long. I have been lifting weights for, you know, a lot longer than a year or two. But yeah, after 2 years of university, I then had a placement year, because my course was a sandwich degree, meaning I had 2 years at university, then a year's work placement, and then I went back for my final year. So during this placement year is when I actually truly discovered my sort of motivation for lifting, and it's really when I started to see the most progress, and actually probably made some of the most progress I've ever made in my life. And then, as I'll get onto later, fourth year is when it came absolutely crashing down. But yeah, this was a time when I was going to the gym religiously 4 or 5 days a week. You know, my split was a proper training split. I think I was doing push-pull legs, day off push-pull legs. So it was actually a 6-day split, but with a day off, you know, every now and then. And that was when I saw some serious progress. You know, I could put a lot of time into it. You know, I was quite fortunate during my placement. I worked as a tennis coach. So I had sort of a lot of free time, either in the morning or in the evening, or sometimes in the afternoon, to go and you know, fit in the gym workout. And we also had a decent gym at the academy that I was coaching at. So yeah, I really nailed this progress. And I think I went up to about, I think during this year I went from 75 kilograms to, I believe, like 94, which is obviously like a 19 kilogram jump. And obviously there was some fat gain there as well, but a lot of it was muscle. Yeah, you know, this was the first year that, you know, a lot of my old sort of mates and even when I went back to uni, one of my old lecturers sort of said, you know, basically thought I was just lifting weights for the year, which for me was unreal to hear. And obviously, you know, it sort of sparked my ego to carry on and actually think, you know, I was actually making some progress here. And not also that, you know, the external comments are great, but you know, if you don't actually enjoy it yourself, then there's no point doing it. And during this year, I really sort of found myself within weight training and really started to develop a love for it. And it was also just a mental thing. Like I felt like I wasn't bothered really about how I was looking. It was more about how I felt afterwards. Like I just felt amazing. And yeah, that was what just sparked my love for it, really. Right, so despite this incredible year of you know, making some crazy gains, I then went into fourth year in university. And now if you guys have been to university, or even if you haven't, you may or may not know that you do something called a dissertation, which is a huge study. Mine was actually focused on you know, people who lift weights, and and exercise and the reasons they do it and why they drop off, etc. So that was incredibly interesting to me, but unfortunately the demand of all that, I really struggled to balance it. You know, I'm definitely not saying you can't balance it, because you can, but at that time, yeah, the studies really took over for me. I saw that as more of a priority at the time. Looking back, I wish I didn't. I wish I saw it as an equal priority, because I definitely could have balanced my time a lot better. You know, the thing I found with university is that even though you're not in very often, there's a hell of a lot of work to do outside if you want to make the most of it and get really good grades. But saying that, you know, you still can make time for the things like lifting weights and you know, going out and having a social life. But for me, the studies definitely took a huge priority, and unfortunately, you know, weight training truthfully really took a huge dip, and I think I went a good 6 months without doing anything, which, looking back on, was crazy now. I definitely wouldn't do that again. You know, I'd find a way to balance it. You know, I went from 94 kilograms, I think, down to about 85, because for me, and that was sort of like a skinny fat 85, like, because I find it so difficult to gain weight. As soon as I stop weight training and my diet sort of goes a bit out the window, my weight just plummets. You know, it's really easy for me to lose weight. And yeah, unfortunately, most of that muscle mass, pretty much all of it, you know, turned to fat or lost it altogether. So yeah, that was a pretty sad year, really, in terms of gains. Definitely lost them a lot. And then I went into full-time work after that. And again, it took me a good sort of few months to adjust to that full-time routine, because although uni, there's a hell of a lot of work. You know, you're not in 9 to 5. You know, you can get up at 10 or you can get up at 11 if you want sometimes, you know, if you don't have lectures or seminars or anything. So yeah, for me, it was a weird transition going into full-time work. But I'd say after a good sort of few months, I finally got into a good routine again. What I found is the gains came back really quickly, because obviously I'd had that solid year of pretty much just, you know, eating, sleeping and training. That was my year during placement year. So I made some solid foundations during that year. And even though I lost a lot of strength after the final year of university, where I didn't really do much, coming off the back of that, the strength definitely climbed very quickly, and yeah, the muscle sort of came back a lot quicker than it would if you were starting out fresh. A bit like now, to be honest, like, you know, I haven't really done much for a good year, and already, you know, my strength is increasing, you know, a hell of a lot over the weeks, because it's weight that I've done before and I know that I can do. So you know, the muscle memory does come into play a bit, I think, because your body is an incredible machine. You know, it can adapt to these new stimuluses pretty quick, especially if you've done them before. And then obviously we had the pandemic which hit, which caused me to lose quite a bit of weight. I also started cycling to work, which was a hell of a way. It was about 25 miles each day, so I was pretty much cycling a marathon 5 days a week. Well, it's 4 days a week, because thank God my work let me work a day from home each Wednesday to sort of give me a break from the cycling, which I'm unbelievably thankful for, because I was absolutely dead every single day, as you can imagine. And as you can imagine, it was incredibly hard to even maintain any muscle mass. You know, cycling 25 miles, like the amount of food I need to eat, you know, the amount of food I need to eat anyway, regardless of cycling or not, is crazy. So imagine throwing in 25 miles every day. It was absolute hell on earth. But yeah, thank God I'm driving now. You know, it's other than time, obviously, you know, the calories I don't have to consume as much, and obviously it's a hell of a lot easier to build muscle. And now we're back in the gyms. That is my target. You know, I started 4 weeks ago. I was 93 kilograms. I'm now 96. I think 96.4 this morning. So, you know, the progress is there. You know, we're starting to fill out again a bit. You know, properly. You know, with a bit more muscle rather than a bit of fat. And yeah, we're on the road to 100 kilos. When I get to 100 kilos, I think I'm going to see what I'm looking like. You know, if I'm holding a little bit more fat than I would like, I'll probably do a little mini cut for sort of 7 to 8 weeks, and then sort of pop up again. Because I think, well, you know, when you're going for a long bulk like me, like, you don't want to just bulk consistently, because you know, your body will adapt to that new food, so it'll become harder to gain weight. But also, I feel just mentally you need that break from consuming so much food and, you know, having to prepare the meals and eat the meals. So yeah, I think for me, 100 kilos is a good sort of benchmark. You know, that's what I got to when I was at my heaviest, pretty much, and looking, you know, when I was looking the best, you know, I was the most muscular. So I want to see what I'm looking like at 100 kilos this time, and then probably do a little mini cut. You know, I've not really done a mini cut properly before, so it'd be interesting to do that, and then push up and see where we go from there, really. But yeah, that is my story in a nutshell, basically. Well, hopefully nutshell. I'm sure I've waffled on like hell. I do have a habit of just absolutely waffling during these videos, so I do apologize about that. I'm sure hopefully I'll cut a lot of this crap out, but yeah, hopefully you can sort of get an idea of where I've come from. You know, it's certainly not been a smooth ride. You know, I started at 63 kilograms. I'm now 96.2 or 96.4, I can't remember now. And yeah, you know, I've gained a significant amount of weight. It's over 30 kilograms. Obviously, it's not all been lean. It's not all been muscle mass. You know, I'd look like an absolute monster if it was muscle mass, which clearly I do not. You know, some of it is fat weight, and it's certainly not been a linear progression. You know, I've gone up, then I've gone down, then I've gone up to like the best shape I've ever been in, and currently, down again. So, you know, but as long as over the years and over the months, you know, it is a progression, then don't worry about it just, you know, not being a continuous one. You know, you're going to have dips. You know, we're all human. We all have other things going on in our lives. And yeah, you know, sometimes some other things take priority, but I think the longer you do it and the more of a love that you begin to establish for it, the better you can balance everything together and you know, make it a priority for you. But anyway, I just wanted to end this video by giving you guys 3 quick tips to sort of help you guys to you know, gain muscle and you know, put yourselves in the best position possible, and what I found worked for me. So this is probably one of the most important things, the biggest tips that I can give you, and that is to focus on your nutrition. You know, focus on getting enough protein, and first and foremost, focusing on getting enough calories. You know, I'd say in the beginning, or you know, even sort of early on in your lifting career, I wouldn't even be bothered about how much protein you're getting specifically. I'd put a priority on how many calories. You know, if that scale weight is going up gradually, not too quick, but gradually over the weeks and the months, then I'd say you're doing a great job. You know, you don't want to sort of take on everything at once. You know, a lot of people when they start the gym, they think, okay, I need to eat this amount of protein, I need to buy this certain food, I need to eat this much rice, you know, I need to eat this much chicken, and it's all too much, you know, in the beginning. You want to sort of, you know, pick and choose the most important things at the start, and then, you know, slowly add to it as the weeks and months go on. So just focus on eating enough food to begin with, and if that scale weight's going up, then, you know, you're doing a great job. And you know, as the months go by and as you get sort of better at sort of juggling everything, you can start to, you know, add in the more protein and things like that, really. Okay, tip number 2 then is to do compound movements. Now, what I mean by compound movements is these are movements that incorporate more than one muscle group at once. So, for example, your you know, your chest press. You know, other than your chest, you know, you're doing your sort of front delts a bit. You're working your triceps. Whereas if a tricep press, for example, is obviously solely just working the triceps. Each have their place. You know, compounds and isolation movements definitely have their place, and a mixture of the two is preferred, I would say. But in the beginning, put the emphasis on compound movements. You know, even if all of your workouts are compound movements, you know, you're sort of running a, you know, squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press sort of split, you know, across sort of 3 or 4 days. You know, some of them being heavy days, some of them being light days. I would say that's the best. The biggest bang for your buck, and where you're going to see the most progress and build the denser muscle. You know, you imagine you're doing tricep press. You know, obviously you're gonna build your triceps, but in terms of the muscle mass there, you're going to build a lot more by doing a bench press, for example, because you're hitting your chest, triceps, you know, shoulders. So you know, the muscle mass is sort of adding across multiple areas of your body rather than just one. So again, that's something that's going to see that scale weight increase. And I think definitely in the beginning, you want to build a solid foundation, because by doing these compound movements, they inadvertently sort of help you to perform other isolation movements a lot better. You know, if you're doing the bench press a lot, for example, or, you know, dumbbell bench press, you know, alternative compound movement, your triceps are benefiting. So your triceps are going to get stronger, which are going to help you perform the tricep extension a lot heavier. You know, all of these movements sort of help you to perform other movements a lot better. So yeah, that's definitely one of the other biggest tips I can give you guys, is to really focus on progressing your compound movements. You know, focus on form over anything, and then build the weight up over time. And the third and final tip I'm going to give you guys is to stay consistent. Now, you know, we can't all be motivated for every single session. I'm certainly not. And you know, I'm certainly not motivated to really, you know, push hard and beat numbers every single time I go into the gym. I just don't think that's realistic. You know, not every single session anyway. You know, most of them I am, but for those sessions that you're not, it's just about showing up. You know, just get yourself out of bed, drive to the gym, you know, cycle to the gym, walk to the gym. Just make sure you get yourselves in the gym and just do something. Because, you know, even if you don't have the best workout ever, even if you're not beating the numbers previously, just that building up that consistency and building up that mental mindset of going to the gym, and you have to go to the gym and getting in the work. Like, I promise you, it will reward in the future. Like, you know, you'll build up that sort of tolerance and discipline, which I think is crucial to being successful over the long term. You know, I said before, I haven't stayed consistent. It certainly hasn't been a linear progression, but over the years, I'm becoming more and more disciplined to just go anyway. You know, even if I feel like I don't have the time, you know, just making time, juggling things around, and just showing up. You know, not every time I'm beating the numbers, not every time I'm working maybe as hard as I can, but every time, you best believe I'm showing up, I'm turning up, and I'm doing something. You know, which has got to help in the long run to build that discipline, build that mindset, and I think is really going to help you guys to be successful over the long term. Right then, people, I'm going to end the video there. I'm sure I've waffled on for long enough now. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's not been too boring for you guys. Hopefully you can take some value from it. You know, I thought with the new subscribers joining recently, it'd be good to give you guys, you know, a little bit of a backstory into where I've come from in my journey, and yeah, just understanding that it's definitely not been a linear progression for me. It's definitely been a little bit all over the shop really, but in the long term, in the long run, we are definitely on that progression, and yeah, hopefully I can help you guys to do the same. As always, thank you guys so much for the support recently. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week for the next one.